I am Chylli from channel Chylli, also known as Try, and we are getting back into more depersonalization. Back into the DLC story we go. And we were just about to enter the next chapter now. After a busy day, the sky darkened and you return to the street where your house is. This is an old street with the road full of grooves and cracks, and the lighting is not very strong. At night, not even loiterers are seen. But fortunately, your small house is right there, and at least there you can find a bit of warmth and shelter. Whoa, there's a lot of junk around here. You vaguely remember that this newspaper stand on the roadside sold local newspapers, drinks, and small snacks, but now it has been abandoned for a long time. Perhaps like this street, it is only meaningful in gradual decline. Its only meaning is gradual decline. The sign says, Westminster Street, 222B. Welcome to the 3000 Loves Wedding Agency. With professional methods and a delicate, emotional perception, we help you discover the secrets your partner may hide. To protect the sanctity and fidelity of your marriage and to erect a solid protective umbrella for your emotional world. The trash is empty, but you notice at the bottom a bit of dried and solidified black mucus. And next to the trash, there's a long drag mark, which left the same black mucus on the worn street floor. A dilapidated trash can full of household waste. Beside the bad smell, there's nothing interesting. It's unknown since what year, but this old bicycle is chained to a light post. The tires have been flat for a long time, and the middle frame is rusty. This sign says, Welcome to the Failure Hotel. Rise to the top of the clouds and enjoy a luxury treatment tailored for the soul. When was this skyscraper built? You've forgotten, but you remember that for a while this place was very busy. And then in the blink of an eye, it became empty. It seems some people argued here, and after a while, this building became as quiet as the rest of the street. You vaguely remember that, following this road, there's a tunnel that goes from north to south, but where it leads, you have no idea. The key turns, the lock clicks, you've returned home. After a tiring day, now it's time to rest. Again. You opened the door and outside was a tall, thin figure holding a bag. With a faint streetlight, you could see it read, I have no idea what that word means. Meishuan service. Sir, I really didn't order food. I think I have the right to refuse. The delivery person quickly pulled a knife from the delivery bag and stabbed it at your throat. Fortunately, your detective instincts saved your life. You instinctively turned your head, blocked and twisted the knife handle, making it fall to the ground. Seeing that he failed to kill you the first try, the delivery person quickly retreated, moving away from your door. Who the hell are you? The man in front of you was panting, his body trembling non-stop as if he himself had been attacked. Couldn't catch him. This direction must be the direction of the tunnel. We're on our way, detective. Don't take any risks. Right, I'm in the tunnel. Behind Westminster Street, the suspect fled north. Also, there's a body in the center of the tunnel. I'm signing off. Okay, be careful. He superficially examined the deceased. The cause of death should be a strong blow to the head, which almost caved the helmet into the skull. From the livor mortis and the condition of the skin, he should have been dead for about 24 hours. And the coat is on the body. Why would the killer take the clothes of a delivery person? A chill ran down your entire body. Could it be that yesterday it was the killer who wore the clothes and assumed the identity of a delivery person and knocked on my door? Well, but what stopped him from acting last night and chose today? Forget it, I can't understand. I'll leave this to Triss and his team. How did we get to the cemetery? A series of footprints extends to the interior of the cemetery. Strange, there shouldn't be footprints on the road. Although the situation is urgent, you still use the faint streetlight to examine the footprints. It's not mud with some kind of black sticky liquid. Did he step in some sewage puddle? The fence installed by the police was abruptly removed. Why? Who did this? The man was crouching next to the tombstone, his hands waving helplessly over the already filled grave, as if wanting to grab something but caught nothing. The hand he could hold was already gone. The man's face contorted, the wrinkles overlapping, as if completely covering his eyes and eyebrows. Why? You're gone too. Hey, you! No, don't come near. I didn't do anything. They forced me. Who forced you? Calm down. Speak slowly. I am... Who is... No. He came. The man's face in front of you twisted almost into a mass, terror rising and falling on its face like a tide. In the name of the police, I order you to stop. Hey, is there a hole here in the cemetery? Don't push me anymore. You destroyed... The man, trembling, took an old revolver from his pocket. With a trembling left hand, he slowly put the bullets in one by one. Although there was a great distance between you and the man, with the faint moonlight, he still saw the metal revolver shining in his hand. and the bullets being placed into the cylinder one by one. Damn. Sir, stay calm. Step away from the cliff. Contain yourself. You shouted at the man in the distance. No, 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 no. They are too loud, and you are also too loud. Shut up, shut up. You saw the barrel of the pistol pointed at you. The sound of gunshots ceased. Taking advantage of the moment, the crazed man reloaded. You rushed forward and threw yourself on him. The sensation of being in the air and falling arose simultaneously. Primitive fear awakening adrenaline in an instant. The moonlight shone, the 100-meter cliff and the rocks passed quickly before your eyes. The strong wind of the fall howled in your ears. The man under you writhed in panic, saliva flying from his mouth toward the sky. With one hand, you grabbed the man's collar, and with the other, you held tightly onto the watch in your pocket. The feeling of suffocation from the fall had already left the man motionless, and the ground at the bottom of the cliff was getting closer and closer. You pressed the pocket watch. The clock turns and the timelines intertwine. The man beside you, completely unconscious. The occasional twitching finger indicated that he was still alive. You are panting, the fatigue from the watch's return and the adrenaline left you exhausted. Cold sweat dripping insistently from your forehead, but your heart was pounding uncontrollably. You opened the hand of the fainted man on the ground and took the revolver. Now the case should be solved. Wait, what is it? Got you, you demon. One more offering. How is it possible? You died, Sekhmet, you died. More than once. Get out of my head. The gun. The revolver you just confiscated is now in your hand. Shoot, kill them. You didn't choose to shoot. That nightmarish figure approached to you. You knelt on the edge of the cliff as if you had already accepted your fate. So close, it seemed you could hear the profane words whispering in your ear. Leave me alone, I can't distinguish. The ugly homeless man in front of you slowly crashed down. You couldn't see his face, maybe it was full of mockery or maybe it was the last joke with the prey. You feel a pair of thin hands touch your face. They lifted your head, wiped your tears. Detective, it's okay now. Look carefully. It's me, Violet, your primary doctor. Look at me. It's all over. You just need a rest. You did very well. As if grabbing a lifeline, you held onto Violet's arm tightly, but the words were stuck in your throat. It's unknown if it was from suffering too much mental shock, but your tongue seemed tied. You stuttered and couldn't say a word. You could only hug her in response. Under the smell of lavender, you could finally relax your nerves and fall into a deep sleep. Fourth act, depersonalization. That's enough, Nyarlathotep. How much longer are you going to lie on the floor? The Forgamon entered the gate a long time ago. This chain hurts a lot. Will, why didn't you help me convince her a little more? If I die, our plan goes down the drain. Yeah, left their tip. No matter what, my connection with the Forgamon is stronger than yours. Even if it comes to that point, I will not be on your side. Besides, projecting your avatar into many copies, if you still want to beat a Forgamon, it would be really difficult. But I'm also curious, why did you do this? Why? Is that a question the omniscient Sothoth should ask? Hey, am I still stuck in the Mistress of Time cycle and haven't gone out? I can also answer my own question because you find this very entertaining. Although that answer fits well with your habits, it's excessively emotional. Well, who would have thought Sothoth would also have to ask for advice? Oh, that reminded me why I came here. I came to fulfill an agreement. So, Miss Sothoth, we're even. Why should I answer your question? Fair exchange. All right, fair exchange. No one can get the better of Sothoth after all. She is omniscient. My answer is simple. I've participated personally many times. I wanted to rest a bit and see what kind of plot different people can present for me. Besides, it's more fun. It fits very well with the impression I have of you, but not completely. So it's my turn to ask. Did you let this little trick of mine pass right under your nose? Why? Is it you who wants to hear, or do you think someone else wants to hear? Nyar shrugged and said, I consider myself an intelligent person, although I don't compare to your wisdom, Sothoth. But to understand the things that pass through my hands, that's a piece of cake. In psychology, there's the law of repetition, also known as the law of practice. It means that any behavior and thought, if repeated continuously, will be continuously reinforced. Specifically, people can continuously repeat certain people, events, and things in their subconscious, and gradually, in repetition, improve and strengthen them, turning them into facts. Professor Sothoth, please continue, please. And the key to repetition is cognition. Humans are curious. If you tell them not to think about something, they will investigate even more. Just as if I tell you not to imagine a pocket watch, what will you think of? A pocket watch. Many exquisite pocket watches. That is the key to stimulating repetition. Humanity before divinity is like an ant before a mountain. But no matter how immense the mountain is, it can never completely eliminate the ants. The ants can get lost, they can be buried, but they will never be annihilated. And the best way to stabilize the ants is... Well, time is almost up. I should also go look for the protagonist of the story. To Will, or rather Sothoth, remember, this time you owe me one. We're even. You can't say that, Mr. Will. My Black Queen is still trapped in your book. Yar, have you regretted it? No, not at all. Everyone who turns possibilities into endings deserves a reward. Besides, no matter how fun an object is, nothing compares to the toy called a human being, right? It's getting late. Humans are always rushing to catch the train. I also need to go see my new pawn. Back to the ICU. It's kind of familiar. You skillfully rolled out of bed, disconnecting all the monitor cables connected to you. It seems you've recovered well, Detective. How do you feel now? Well, I don't think I have any after effects. Last night, was it you who saved me? No, it was you who saved yourself, Detective. You took the gun from the suspect, Sorimer, and subdued him on the edge of the cliff. When Triss and I arrived, you already had the situation under control. Well, your mental state at the time was very unstable. Tell me about it. I want to ask about the suspect first. Okay. The suspect, Sorimer, is one of the gravediggers at the cemetery. The preliminary diagnosis revealed that he suffers from Cotard's syndrome and bipolar disorder, but the origin of the weapon is unknown. However, Sorimer is still unconscious. Old Thor is helping with the treatment. He may have some slight organ damage and a concussion. Perhaps he was injured during the subduing, but he is not in life-threatening danger. Does it match the previous suspicions? Violet nodded. Currently, the suspect is unconscious and has been temporarily detained at the police station. Old Thor and Triss are there taking care of him. Now tell me the reason for your mental state last night. You closed your eyes, recalling the scene on the cliff's edge the night before. The two nightmarish figures still gave you chills. I saw Sekhmet again on the cliff, and it wasn't just one. I raised the gun, aimed at them, but fortunately, I didn't have the courage to pull the trigger. You looked at Violet and said, "Only when the two figures of Sekhmet got close to me did I realize they were just my hallucinations. I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger. What you saw as Sekhmet was actually me and Triss." "Yes." After a long silence, Violet sighed. "Detective, your hallucinations are getting worse. But fortunately, you haven't lost control. You are stimulated again. You may get lost." Violet paused. "But this case is related to you. Chris's intention is for you to go watch the interrogation and, besides, give a statement talking about the details of last night. Don't worry, I'm completely normal now." "Right, I'll go to the police station first to help. Detective, come rest and come later. If you're not satisfied with Triss's arrangements, you can call him directly. I'll always be on your side. Of course, don't forget the doctor's orders." "Violet, thank you." "You're welcome." You know, I kind of feel guilty for suspecting Violet, but she really is suspicious a lot of times. We are going to have to replay this module again for another ending, and I want to see what will happen if I shoot them there. The high tide has already covered half of the staircase, and the beach below has also been submerged. It seems it's no longer suitable to go down to the beach. On the side, there's a new note taped which reads, "Lighthouse keeper wanted for Small's Lighthouse. Much work at night. Salary negotiable. Did Griffith resign?" The lighthouse door seems to be locked now. Alright, that's interesting. I wonder why. Whoa, that is 3 to 30 damage to every enemy? That is actually kind of insane. Alrighty then, let's go to the police station. I think this is the first time we've ever actually been in front of the police station before. Decorative flowers with signs of pruning. Some 4-leaf clovers grow at the base of the flower bed. A luxury car parked in front of the police station. It looked a bit out of place. A common black car, completely closed, nothing noteworthy. What is this? As you are about to move away from the car, you notice that your foot seemed to have stepped in something black and sticky. You lifted your foot and looked at the ground. It was a black, sticky mass like glue. What a familiar thing. Have I seen this before? Okay, well, that is really bad news about one of the police officers, at least. Bulletin board with an announcement asking society for information about the serial murder case with a reward up to 10,000 gold. Chris should give me that reward money. Bulletin board with commendations for outstanding police officers. You immediately recognize the officer named Lynn. Detective, you've arrived. Now you're a well-known figure in the city. All that's left is for a newspaper article about you single-handedly solving a serial murder case to appear. Wood, have you forgotten how Tris punished you? Talk less and take care of the office work more. Enough fighting. Where's Tris? Didn't he call me to listen to the interrogation? And where's the suspect now? Chris is still in the office, probably thinking about you. The suspect is in the detention cell. Go in through the back door, turn right, and you'll get there. Hey detective, I heard you lost your memory. Don't you even remember the police station's layout? Don't listen to him, detectives. Go in through the parking lot, through the back door of the police station. Turn right and go to the end. Wood, you boy, don't you know the wall here has terrible insulation? Next time remember to watch your mouth. That just shows how generous you are, sir. Stop flattering me. Write a report on this case and give it to me this afternoon. If you ask Lynn to help you again, you'll have your salary docked. Chris scolded Wood and then turned to you. Detective, let's go see the suspect you arrested. Okay. Maybe the sludge was from him. Doctor, what's the situation? As you can see, this time the treatment was led by Dr. Rozov. I just assisted him. Assisted. Anyway, the current diagnosis is the suspect Sormer suffered a mild concussion in medical terms. There's an obvious contusion to the back of his neck that seems to have been made by you, detective, when you subdued him. So this clearly surgical work was naturally handed over to Dr. Rozov. And the straitjacket, where did it come from? I brought it from the hospital. While you were still unconscious, Sormer showed uncontrollable aggression during treatment, almost knocking down a police officer. After injecting a sedative, I borrowed a set from the hospital. Did Sormer say anything? I remember last night while chasing him, he seemed to be afraid of something. Violet thought for a moment and then shook her head. No, after Sormer regained consciousness, he started attacking others. During this process, he said a few words, but they didn't seem like normal words. Okay, I get the gist. Old Thor raised his head, looked at you, and then went back to adjusting Sormer's straitjacket. It seems old Thor doesn't want to pay attention to me. You can begin. You stood beside Triss. A short time later, old Thor fastened the buckle on the straitjacket, clasped his hands, and signaled that the suspect was ready. Sormer, male, 29, gravedigger, with a history of mental illness. Throughout the interrogation, your statement will be recorded with full audio and video. This content may be used as evidence in the case. This is the Notice of Rights and Duties. Now, I will read each item aloud. Please listen carefully. First, you have the right to remain silent. The interrogation didn't last long, but for most of the time, Sormer responded with silence, occasionally with one or two incomprehensible words. It seemed the interrogation was just a monologue from Triss. The suspect's mental state has improved a bit, but it still seems difficult for him to handle this kind of interrogation. Triss frowned, turned off the recording camera behind him, looking a bit frustrated. Then he said to the two doctors behind you, I ask you to take care of the rest. Right. Come on, detective, let's talk on the way. It seems the interrogation didn't go well. Actually, seeing Sormer's state, we were already expecting it. But including the alibi, the body fibers, and evidence from the cemetery, and the footprints left at the factory, everything matches Sormer's characteristics. Also, the deliberate attack and murder in the tunnel are enough to keep Sormer in the psychiatric hospital for the rest of his life. The interrogation is more of a formality. After being sent to the persecution, our job is not to prove that Sormer is guilty. We just need to convince the jury that Sormer is guilty. Even if his lawyer is very good and argues that Sormer committed the crimes in a state of confusion, there will still be enough to keep him in prison for decades. It seems the case is closed, but I still have a doubt. Go ahead. I was thinking, could Sormer perform under a refined dismemberment? Could Sormer perform such a refined dismemberment? What do you mean? If I'm not mistaken, the body parts I found at the factory were precisely cut between the muscles and tissues. Without precise knowledge of the human body, could a mental patient do that? As I remember, old Thor said the cutting method was crude, consistent with a novice. Was the subsequent treatment that fast? Why did only he come out? Where's Violet? Dr. Rozov seems to be in a hurry. Wait, delegate, I have a bad feeling. I think I forgot some detail. What is it? Something's wrong. Let's go back to the detention cell. Okay. Violet. Detective, don't shout, I'm still alive. First, help me. Get the hemostatic. Violet was with one hand on the floor and the other covering the side of her neck, bright red blood gushing into her palm. What happened? Chris took bandages and a hemostatic agent from a cabinet on the side, applied the hemostatic to the bandage, folded the bandage into several layers, and applied it to Violet's neck wound. Be careful. It seemed the bleeding has stopped for now. Help me up, detective. You approached and placed Violet's hand on your shoulder. Violet, trembling, stood up from the floor. Lorimer was firmly tied to the chair by the straitjacket. Blood slowly dripped from his neck. The deep cut had opened the skin, tendons, muscles, and spine, and the yellow tissue fluid mixed with blood plasma stained the white straitjacket, which was already in tatters from the violent struggle. The severed spine killed Lorimer instantly. Without the support of the spine, his head lolled back at a terrifying angle, supported only by a few muscles and skin, so as not to roll on the floor. Behind him, the scalpel was on the floor, the blood staining the tip of the blade. What the hell happened? Detective, haven't you realized yet? It's just that you and Triss don't want to admit it. The pieces of meat in the factory, the body in the hospital, the corpse in the tomb, their common feature is clean, professional cuts. This is not something a person with mental illness and no self-control could do. There were 2 sets of footprints in the factory, which means that besides Lorimer, there was another person helping him with the work. And that person is Rozov. He was just trying to destroy the evidence, silence the witness. Chris, take me to my clinic. Your bandaging technique isn't very good. I need to give you some training. Delegate Triss, take Violet back to the clinic. I'll go by car to intercept Rozov. Okay, detective, be careful. I'll call for backup to give you Rozov's location immediately. I'm gonna be honest, I was not expecting that at all. Are you hearing me, detective? I'm hearing you. Violet has already been taken back to the clinic. She's not seriously injured. We've located Rozov Thor's route through the traffic cameras. He's heading west of the city, not far from your current position. The police are on their way, preparing to close the city's exit and surround him. If possible, try to stop Rozov's vehicle or make him slow down. Alright, leave it to me. The road is far from the city center. It hasn't been maintained for years. The conditions are poor. Be careful with obstacles on the road. Pay attention. Detective, are you hearing me? I always have. Lynn's got Rozov's route from the real-time monitoring. Currently, he is less than 800 meters ahead of you. This stretch of road is relatively easy, without many obstacles, but be careful. Rozov has a gun license and may retaliate. Understood, I see his car. The bullet hit Thor's vehicle's hubcap squarely, making a sharp noise, but it didn't seem to affect the moving vehicle much. But through the other vehicle's rearview mirror, you noticed that Thor had already seen you. Son of a bitch, that bitch Violet. I really believed her lie. Okay, well, that didn't heal me very much. Let's see what I can do here. The flames have already started to spread along the gasoline leaked from the car. The vehicle is on its side, severely damaged. You opened the car's engine hood and the hot air quickly escaped. From the almost melted engine wires, the cause of the accident was the failure of the vehicle's cooling system, which led to the engine overheating and exploding. Although mixed with the leaked gasoline, you noticed a black mucus that was blocking the cooling duct. You forcefully broke the front window glass. The car's airbag, for some reason, didn't deploy. Thor was leaning on the seat with blood dripping from his forehead, half of his body trapped by the twisted metal. His right arm was twisted several times and blood slowly dripped from his sleeve. You looked down and saw that a sharp metal bar had pierced his abdomen and blood stained his shirt. Quiet, I'll get you out of there. Say what you have to say for the judge and jury. Detective, I am a surgeon. I know. This went through the spine. I'm not going to survive. You hesitated for a moment, but didn't stop trying to bend the twisted metal. Whatever you have to say it in court. You can't die here. Tell me, why? So fast, Violet. Did she tell you what? You stopped what you were doing and looked at Rozov, and he stared at you as if he only wanted an answer. Old Thor's eyes widened slightly, feeling extreme surprise and anger. But soon he seemed to have understood everything. What a good plan, making a pact with the devil won't end well, Violet. Thor, with the only hand he could still move, took a bunch of keys from under the car seat. Take my office safe, now. Or office keys, I'm sorry, I didn't read that all the way. Whatever, we got keys for the safe in his office, I suppose. As a last gasp, or using the last drop of adrenaline, Rozov struggled violently out of the twisted metal, his head emerging through the gap. The metal in his spine tore his intestines, and blood gushed from his abdomen. He widened his eyes, stared at you, and shouted his last word. Ow! The explosion consumed the entire vehicle. No. Follow the doctor's orders, This isn't... It's not my fault. Sparks ignited the leaked gasoline and the black sedan exploded violently. You stood at a distance, watching the flames spread and rise. Only when uniformed police officers ran past you and the high-pressure hoses extinguished the flame did you come to your senses with someone touching your shoulder. Detective, are you okay? Delegate, I couldn't save Rozov. It's not your fault. As soon as the cutting sound ceased, Rozov's body was removed from the vehicle by the police. Rozov was completely charred by the fire. The puncture wounds in his abdomen clearly visible. No need to blame yourself, Detective. An interception action always involves risk. Rozov paid the price for his actions, that is, he reaped what he sowed. Tell me about Rozov Thor. He was also an old friend of mine. I met him a few years before I met you, when I was at the police academy. I said I would go to the police station, arrest criminals, fight crime, and Rozov agreed, saying he would become the best doctor to help me solve cases. I was lucky. The delegate who mentored me left me the position when he left, and at that time he had just passed the exam for the city hospital. I remember once when we boasted to each other, Rozov stared at me and said he would also be appointed department head. Until a month ago, he had barely reached his current position, but I never thought that... It's not your fault, Detective. Go take care of your business. Leave this to the police. Alrighty, let's see what we can do here now. Oops, I did not click down like I meant to. You inserted the key and opened the safe with ease. In the safe, there was only piles of files and a camcorder, which perhaps hadn't been taken out for some time. Patient name, Howell, lighthouse keeper. Psychiatry, Violet. Patient reports depression, visual fatigue, and hallucinations in the last 15 days, such as hearing the sound of tides even far from the coast. From blank began to show symptoms of hallucinations without apparent cause. Before they manifested as flashes or colored light spots. Over time, the content of the hallucinations became varied, seeing non-existent people, animals, or objects such as strangers walking in the room, birds outside the window, worms on the floor, etc., accompanied by auditory hallucinations. The frequency of hallucinations gradually increased, reaching several times a normal day, several times a day, with variable duration, from a few seconds to more than 10 minutes. The patient believes the symptoms are related to work, where he was recently confined in a closed environment for several days. Physician's signature, Violet. Tehran, lighthouse keeper, dermatology, Violet. The patient reports depression, visual fatigue, and hallucinations in the last 15 days, frequently seeing shadows of worms on the floor and hearing the sound of tides even far from the coast. The patient, before blank, presented lesions without apparent cause. Initially, scattered red popples appeared on the chest, the size of milligrains to peas, with mild itching. After scratching, the lesions increased and spread, merging to form erythemas with poorly defined borders covered by multiple layers of silvery scales. Upon gently scraping, the scales come off. After removal, a thin, shiny, translucent membrane is visible. Upon scraping the membrane again, multiple bleeding points appear. Okay, so yeah, this is clearly tied to Dagon and the Deep Ones. Like, the story has been teasing that pretty heavily. Violet, she already knew Tehran and Howell. You turn on the camcorder, there's only one recording. Okay, Mr. Howell, your symptoms tend to be short-term excessive mental tension related to your recent work. Rest a bit and everything will be fine. I'll prescribe you some sedatives, don't inject in excess. Use only if you have hallucinations again. And it's better to suspend work for a few days. Okay, so if you think about it, there's some weird slime that covered the camera when Violet was there. My files were replaced with a weird sludge. Violet knew both of the victims, both of which were... One was kind of turning into a fish man, and the other was going insane due to being in the lighthouse for a week straight. There was footsteps coming out of the water. I figure Violet is the person that was with that other person in the factory. And she's also the one leaving those boot marks around that left the person's foot covered in black sludge. And it's better to suspend work for a few days. Okay, thank you for listening to me so much. I feel much better after venting. So what about the payment? Come, turn around. Relax your muscles, sir. You're not afraid of injections, are you? As for the matter of payment, I always charge a fair price. Violet injected the medication into Howell's vein. Soon, Howell staggered and fell to the floor. I need to prepare a few more. I hope this one is useful. Alrighty, anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it for today's video. The last two things I can really think of is that cave on the shore we can't open yet, and the factory where we needed a ladder. So yeah, until then, I will see you next time. Bye!